Help! I'm stuck in a massive rainforest! Well, watch out! It's an anaconda! Oh no! Crocodile! Ah! A corrupt politician! Welcome to Brazil, a South American country where basically everybody lives on the coast because the interior of the country is filled by the giant Amazon rainforest. The Amazon isn't that scary though, it takes CO2 out of the atmosphere. I have a great idea, we should cut it all down. Wow, what a great idea, Brazil. You know, I feel like Brazil's always trying to be different. Like, it's one of the few countries in Central and South America that doesn't speak Spanish, instead opting for Portuguese. And unlike the Spanish colonies that got rich from mining and ranching, the Portuguese colonizers made Brazil a plantation-based society. As a result, millions of African slaves were brought to the colony to grow cash crops like sugar and coffee. Slavery had a stronghold on the country, with Brazil being the last nation in the Western Hemisphere to abolish slavery, which happened all the way in 1888. Back during the colonial days, Brazil meant a lot to Portugal. It was making Portugal rich and had a big say in the Portuguese Empire. When Portugal was invaded during the Napoleonic Wars, the capital was moved from Lisbon all the way to Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. Over time, Brazil began to achieve more autonomy and became its own independent empire in 1825. For a while, Brazil was led by an emperor, who was then replaced by military dictatorship. Military rule would last in the country until 1985. During this time, instability and corruption were rampant, but the military was able to secure Brazil's position as a global power. They even built the country's massive capital city, Brasilia, from the ground up. But however, during this time, Brazil's economy was stagnant and suffering from relatively high inflation of over 100%. In 1985, the new civilian government implemented plans to revitalize the economy, but these economic shocks only worsened the crisis. In the late 80s and early 90s, the country was struck by massive hyperinflation. Inflation reached peaks of 7,000% in 1990 and 5,000% in 1994. This crisis was worsened even more when President Collor de Mello was impeached on charges of corruption in 1992. Confidence in the government was low, but Brazil had a plan. The government completely shifted to a new dollar-pegged currency, the real. This switch had a massive impact on inflation, holding this key rate below 10%. As a result, the economy began to grow rapidly. Brazil began to harness its copious natural resources to become one of the largest producers and exporters in the world. Poverty levels decreased while the standard of living drastically improved. Lucky enough for Brazil, in 2006, the country discovered the Tupi oil fields off its coast, some of the largest in the world. This discovery led to an even bigger boom in the Brazilian economy, with the state-run oil company Petrobras becoming one of the most valuable companies in the world. In 2008, when many countries around the world were experiencing recession, Brazil kept growing. But wait, it's 2010 and things have slowed down a bit. Brazil isn't exporting or producing as many goods as it used to. Hopefully things turn around. Well, one day in 2014, a bunch of guys were just sitting at a car wash in the capital, Brasilia. You know, just washing cars. Then all of a sudden, boom, 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 they're being raided by the federal police for money laundering. The police do their job, catch the bad guys, and the day is saved. But no, instead they find something horrifying. During their investigation, they find that almost every single company and politician in Brazil is embezzling hundreds of billions of dollars in public money. This discovery led to the arrest of hundreds of powerful business leaders and government officials, including the past and current president Lula. But the worst offender was a familiar character, Petrobras. They were stealing hundreds of billions of dollars through fraudulent oil contracts. As a result, the company's stock dropped over 60% in a single year, and the Brazilian economy was plunged into recession. The unemployment rate skyrocketed to 15%, where it has remained for almost 10 years. Poverty grew, along with Brazil's infamous slums known as the favelas. This catastrophe was coupled with Brazil hosting the 2016 Summer Olympics. What was supposed to be a highlight of the country was a disaster. One of Brazil's largest cities, Rio de Janeiro, was bankrupted, and poverty and pollution in the country was exposed to the worldwide mainstream media. Many of the projects completed for the games have fallen into complete disrepair. Recently, Brazilian national elections have been extremely controversial, leading to mass protests and riots across the country, including an attack on the parliament. Hey, not everything about Brazil is bad. It's one of the most beautiful and unique countries on earth. While it's known for the giant Amazon rainforest, Brazil is also home to the savanna-like Cerrado. When you're in Brazil, you should visit cities like Sao Paolo, Rio de Janeiro, Salvador, and Brasilia. These cities are home to vibrant cultures and celebrations like Carnival. You should be careful though and avoid going out at night because of high crime rates. Brazil has an amazing soccer or football culture. They have produced some of the world's best players and have won the World Cup 5 times. They're also the only country to ever compete at every single World Cup. Well, that was a whirlwind of an adventure. Hopefully Brazil can rediscover some of its previous success. If you made it all the way to the end of this video and learned something new about Brazil, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for our next adventure to the strange, oil-rich nation of Brunei.